You'll never be the
I
same.
am obsessed. I don't think I'll ever be the same. No. You've changed my world.
It's like a daily problem for me. They know me there.
You just roll up and they're like, what's up, bro? Keep going.
Triple chocolate? Got it. Go. It is so, but like, it's a problem. It's a real problem.
I'm just going to see the credit card statement. Andy's.
Yeah. $7 on ice cream seems reasonable.
That's valid.
No one would let me eat it for years, so I have to make up
For the loss
for the loss of ice cream and chocolate. I couldn't have any of those things. So
Fair enough.
Daily.
You know she hit the record button already, right?
Of course she did. Are we here to talk about ice cream?
I guess we're here to talk about ice cream. If that's what you want to talk about,
Listen,
today's your day.
I can go anywhere and discuss the ice cream.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Corey's Cast. Today on the podcast, I have one of my best friends, Brooke Veale, from Starr Lane Quilting, and she's here to talk to us about her journey through quilting, along with some paper piecing techniques that she is really, really good at. Whether she knows that she's going to talk about it or not, that's what she's talking about today.
About it.
That's what we're going to figure out. Brooke, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Corey?
I'm great. Good to see you.
Good to see you, always.
It's always the best. We didn't do a ton of texting this morning. We normally text a ton.
Right.
I know. We got to work on that.
We missed like the 4 hours this morning.
That's fine.
He's been helping me on some quilting on a quilt I've been doing this week. So
it's a really, really pretty quilt. She posts all the time on her social media. She does things on TikTok, Instagram. We're going to get to that, but make sure we follow along. So talk to us about your background and then your journey into quilting, because I think it's a very interesting story that I think everyone should hear.
Oh, I hope I hit the interesting parts of it. You'll have to clue me on my life if I don't hit the good parts.
Okay, I'll make sure.
I grew up just down the road, was born and raised in Plano, Texas. Went to college for a long time, and I hold 3 degrees. None of them have anything to do with quilting.
Okay.
But I practiced medicine for about 15 years, I guess. Taught a couple at the medical school, and then had to medically retire from that. But I've been quilting for probably 20 years.
Okay.
And been in business for like 3.5 now.
You had mentioned that you had to medically retire from medicine. Do you mind sharing just a little bit? I think your story is really important for people to hear. And so if you could share just a little bit with us, you don't have to share everything whatever you would like to.
I can do that. I have several autoimmune things, and one of them is lupus. And several years ago, my immune system decided that my kidneys no longer belonged and attacked my kidneys, and I went into kidney failure. And so then the only way to keep my kidneys was to knock out my immune system, since that's what was hitting them out. So I've had to, for years, not be in big crowds and all that kind of things, because I don't have much of an immune system.
Yeah. And you share your story on your social media a lot, very openly. And what's the reason for that? I know some people are kind of, I don't want to say ashamed, but afraid to put out their story or don't want to be judged or anything like that. Right. And I think you're very open and honest about it. And I think that's an amazing thing. So can you tell us kind of like how that came about, like why you're so public about it?
That was actually very hard for me, because normally I'm a very private person and I don't want to, look like I'm trying to get attention or whatever. But on this, it was really important to me because I was in healthcare before. I have a lot of doctors and PAs and nurses on like my Facebook feed and all that. And it was important to me to raise the awareness so that they would be more aware of it. And so with their patients, maybe they could catch if this was happening sooner.
To somebody else.
This renal failure happens in 50% of people with lupus.
Really?
Yeah, but no one talks about it.
No, I didn't know. That's, wow. You're gonna make me tear up.
Oh,
I just like how open and honest you are about it, just to help others as well, to hopefully get them caught.
Well, you've been amazing too. We met in the middle.
We did.
Of all of that, and
we did.
And we became fast friends.
We did. It was a very interesting meeting. Actually, you came in to purchase your long arm during COVID. And you were talking about you shared a little bit about the story, and you said, I have to stand away. I've got to wear 30 masks at one time. I think it was like
Sanitizer.
2 or 3. You were sanitizing all the time. And Chris walked in and he said, I need her to have something that's going to keep her going, keep her happy, and keep her moving. Tell her what she needs, and this is what I'll get.
And go.
And
he just did top of the line.
That was the guy. I said, this is the guy. This is the one.
That's
Chris, let's go to every show together.
Right?
And you tell these people the exact same, just get what they need.
Just get what they need. I'm a big proponent on getting the tools you need for the job. But I did not know we were doing that.
I know you were shocked when he said do this.
I had been working with a close friend of mine, Cindy, has a long arm. Mm-hmm. And she would let me go over to her house and for years. And she would teach me how to use her long arm. And I never thought about having one. But then I ended up in COVID, not being able to get out. I mean, not many people could then, but
well, especially with with the certain other conditions that you had, you really couldn't risk it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
I was lucky because the doctors told me you can't get this. You're not going to do well with it.
Yeah.
And I was lucky in that I had that warning. Because a lot of people that didn't do well with it, they didn't get that kind of warning.
Right.
So. Oh. But he was just one day. He wakes up and he goes, well, can you show me what you've been working on over at Cindy's? So I called Cindy and she's like, you got to go talk to Corey. So Chris and I met. He was in this suit from work and we just met here and we were all masked up and you masked up for me, which was so kind because that was just when we met.
Right.
And I had no idea. He was just like, get it done.
And the rest is history.
What's happening right now? And he's like, you love to learn and you're stuck in the house. Let's get something that's fun for you.
That those two can combine and you can keep furthering your skills in quilting.
And quilting is fun.
And quilting is the best.
Yes.
It is so much fun. So talk to me about your first quilting sewing project because I actually don't know this one. I know quite a bit about you, but I don't know this one. First ever. Like how did the excitement start into, I want to sew and then I want to quilt? Talk to me about that.
With my grandmother. We call her Nana in my family. She was a big quilter, and when I was little, maybe 6, 7, 8, we would work on Dutch doll quilts when I went to visit her. And here's the best part. She had like one drawing of this Dutch doll quilt or block.
Yeah.
And we would trace it on actual newspaper. Our hands were completely black by the time we were done with the block.
And it didn't dye the fabric or anything? You're just
you would think so.
Yeah.
I don't know that my blocks were ever good enough to be used in anything, to be honest. But she ended up making me a Dutch doll quilt that I used on my bed for years and years. Still have it.
Really? Mm-hmm. Why have I never seen this?
I'll bring it next time.
Or whenever I come over.
Yeah, I was going to pull it out for the next Cowboy game or whatever.
Hang out with the dogs on the Dutch doll quilt.
So, and my grandfather, he built the houses on that street. So the street is named after my grandparents, and it was Starr Lane. And so that's where Starr Lane came from, because that's where I learned how to quilt.
I love that. See, I didn't even know that.
Yes, that's why it's, Starr with 2 R's.
Right.
It's got to have 2 R's. Because that's the family name.
Yeah, that's the only way to do it.
So
I've been to your home a number of times, and you've brought up things here to show me. And you do an incredible, and we've also done a live video together on this next topic.
Oh, yes.
You do incredible things with paper piecing. Can you tell me kind of how you got into paper? I don't think I know this either. Golly, I'm learning a lot about you that I probably should have known.
Oh, but are you going to start adding other questions?
I'm just going to start randomly throwing stuff in now. But talk to us about your journey into paper piecing. What was maybe like your first one, or what got you excited about doing it?
I mean, the design is what gets you excited about it. But for me, I was wanting to do something fun with one of my friends, and we found a Judy Niemeyer retreat that wasn't too far from here. And she had like 4 patterns you could choose from, and we went down there to learn something new and have a good time. And Judy Niemeyer is a blast.
Yeah,
she's a lot of fun. And so I learned from there, and I just couldn't put it down after that.
So for those that may not be familiar with paper piecing, can you kind of just give the highlights of really what it is?
It's really just tracing with thread.
Okay.
It's different from traditional piecing where, your cutting is very important and you're limited to certain shapes. Mm-hmm. With paper piecing, you're really not limited to anything. And you just use a piece of paper, obviously,
that has the sketch lines on it already.
That's got the sketch on it, and you just sew right on the line. So you look at paper a lot.
Yeah.
Then when you turn it over, the reveal is so good.
It's very satisfying.
It really is.
But the thing I like about paper piecing is I am not one that can easily follow traditional piecing patterns just because I don't have the bandwidth. I don't know why. But when I flip it to the back and I look at a piece of paper and I can follow a straight line.
Yes.
Let me tell you.
It feels backwards to a lot of people because
Yeah.
you're working on the underside of it.
Yeah.
But once you there's about 5 steps. You just do them over and over.
Yeah.
Once you get that down, you're golden.
I would definitely recommend, if you haven't watched the video that we did with Brooke on After Hours Live, she taught us how to paper piece. Definitely hop over and watch that. We'll have it linked below as well. But I just think it's cool, and I think it's amazing how great you are at it.
Oh,
and,
you're very kind.
well, thank you. But you are really good at it. So
Once you get those steps down, even the really intricate things,
Mm-hmm.
you're just doing this. It's like, how much patience do you have? How many times do you want to do those steps?
Yeah.
Because it's just the same.
Do you know how many you've done since you started paper piecing projects?
Can we go with a lot?
You can.
Or more than 2. I have quite a number.
Okay.
I've done several of Judy Niemeyer's. Do you know the abstractions?
Yes.
You've seen the big wolf
Yes.
on my wall.
Yes.
I've done a few of those. Those are fantastic.
They're just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just a lot of fun, and they're so very different.
Yeah. I think that's the cool thing too. And then, like you talked about how many different shapes you can kind of create, and your points are always perfection.
Right.
When you do it, I think that's a really cool thing. What are some tips that you could give to someone starting out paper piecing that's never touched it before?
Put everything you know about quilting aside
Okay,
for just a
Brooke,
minute. 'Cause
okay, calm down. What?
It does feel backwards, and a lot of people kind of struggle with that. But it's really just the 5 steps.
Yeah.
And you just
keep going.
Yeah,
You
just keep
repeat,
going.
Repeat.
I have a few tools that have become quite handy.
Yeah, that drags me into my next question. What are some good tools or fabrics that you kind of swear by for paper piecing? Are there specific types that are better? Or what tools work better?
Tools, you got to have a rotary cutter for any kind of quilting.
Of course.
So that's top. And then add a quarter ruler.
Add a quarter ruler.
We have to have that.
Of course.
Now, when I first started, I went down to Judy Niemeyer, who's like the top of all paper piecing, right?
Right.
And I'm not knowing what I'm getting into. I even picked one with curved seams.
Oh.
I don't know.
Ooh, okay.
But I go down there thinking, I don't need an add a quarter ruler. That's ridiculous. I have a quarter line on every ruler that I have.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have one. And the reason is it's got a lip on it.
Uh-huh.
So when it just locks
Just
in
clamps
to the
right
paper,
there onto that side.
so you don't have stuff sliding around, and your seams are always perfect. So you got to have that. And then a new one that I've learned is when you're doing each unit, it's a little bit of a struggle to get the paper on that first piece where you want it to be.
Right.
Some people just hold it. I'm not those people. I don't.
I am not one of those people.
I'm not one of those people. Some people pin, and I don't love that either, because then when I start stacking it up, it gets really bulky.
Yeah.
And so for years, I've been just doing a dab of fabric glue and just put it on there. Once you get the first seam in, the seam's what's holding it in place. You just
Right.
got to get to that first one. But when they sit a while, I'm not saying I've ever put up a project in the middle of it. I've never done that, of course. They never get put into timeout.
Never have
but
done that.
sometimes you need to just put it away for a little bit. When it sits for a while, that glue really starts
Yeah.
working. And when you go to pull the papers off at the end, it's very difficult.
Right.
So all of that to say, go to Amazon. They've got double-sided Scotch tape and just like these little rolling.
Oh, yeah.
Don't put it on the fabric. Put it on the paper.
Right.
And then it sticks to the fabric well enough that you can do whatever you need to do. But if you put it down and you're using a print on the fabric and you didn't get it correct, just take it. It just lifts right up, put it back down, and it sticks again.
Oh, it's like fusible batting. You just pick it up and put it down, pick it up and put it down wherever you need it.
Right.
Oh.
So you have many opportunities.
I feel like you showed us that on the video, right? You
Yes,
did the double-sided tape? Okay.
I had just learned it the week before.
For some reason, I thought you were
live-
using a glue stick. And you weren't. You were using the double-sided tape. That's right.
Yep. So in the videos that I did on my site for paper piecing, I'm using a glue stick. But
Gotcha.
then
Maybe that's where I'm tying it back
but
to.
then when we came and did the live,
yeah,
I had switched over. It's the deal. That's
so
the deal.
how do you balance your passion for piecing and paper piecing with running a home business?
Time management.
Okay.
I'm a strong believer in I book days for clients and that, but I also book days for fun time, and the fun time is usually paper piecing. I do traditional piecing as well, but I can't stop the paper piecing.
So in a typical day, for which I know you probably don't have very many of those, neither do I, but a typical
That's what
client
makes it
day.
so great, though.
That's true, though. Yeah. What's a typical day?
What?
But what is a typical day in your business life? What do you do?
Because of all the stuff with my immune system, I actually meet my clients in the front yard.
Okay.
And that's actually proven to be a lot of fun because with new clients, we end up hanging out for a little bit and I get to know them and all of that instead of just getting, I think if I were to bring them in, I'd be like, okay, so here's your quilt top. Here's designs we could do. I'd go straight into business.
Right.
But I can't do that on my front lawn.
No.
I mean, I can't do that on my front lawn. But it's made that space where I can get to know people, which actually really helps when you're quilting for them.
That's true. Kind of figuring out the story, figuring out how the quilt came about, because every quilt has a story.
Where it's going.
Exactly. And kind of that helps then in your design choice, batting choices, all sorts of things. What climate it's heading to, who's getting it. That's a really good thing to know as opposed to what's this, and all right, thank you, see you later.
Just the business line items. So we do that later. I end up, from what they tell me, I'll pick out 6 designs. I just take a screenshot of it and send it to them. Like, do you love it or hate it? Where are we? What are we doing?
And then we build from there.
And then I've only had one person go past the first 6, and she ended up going back to one that was in the first set. And then with thread, I just lay them out on the quilt top.
Yeah.
And I pull like a single thread out from each of them because that really makes a difference too.
Oh, 1,000%.
Just look at what one thread looks like, not the whole.
Because if you're looking at the thread on the whole cone, it's a little bit of a different color than when you actually lay it down, especially the way the light refracts on it. It changes it completely.
Yep.
So you definitely want to open that up and let them see it.
I always tell them, please make sure that you focus closely on the one thread.
Are there any challenges that you've had to overcome as a home business owner or a home business operator? What's the word? I don't know that word though.
There's a home and there's a business within it.
Yeah. So So are there any challenges that you've had to overcome doing that?
Really, the main challenges were just getting it started. Because I've not done this before, I had to figure out like the legal lines and like filing your own taxes and doing all that. But I've been really fortunate because I've had good quilters around me that I've been able to use as resources. And I know people say this, but it's really true. I have the best clients. And it just makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
When you're working in medicine, when stuff goes wrong, it can go really wrong.
Yeah.
And so I found myself worrying about patients a lot. And now it's like you put thread to fabric and it's magic.
Right.
Even I'm not saying we don't have any quilts with problems.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because
they happen. That's just the nature of it. That's the name of the game.
Happens.
Yeah.
But my clients and I have been able to work really well together, end up being friends with most of them.
And then they just keep bringing you more.
And they just keep bringing me more, and they keep sending my name on.
That's the game right there.
Word of mouth
is a game changer as a small business owner.
And so, like, we want to be those people.
Yeah.
So I appreciate when people shout out for me, and I shout out for the people. Like, if I have a designer I like, I mean, I'll shout it. Yes.
Yes.
Because other people should enjoy this too.
Yes.
I'm not into the gatekeeping. I don't need to be the only one that knows how
this
to
is my
paper
special
piece.
project.
No, everyone should do this.
So what are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on, either professionally or personally?
Professionally, I have 2 that come to mind very quickly.
Okay.
One of them, one of my clients brought me a guitar.
Ooh.
Just a red and white quilt guitar. Her husband plays the bass.
Okay.
And I also used to play the guitar.
I didn't know that.
This is True. Yes.
Hold on. Let me get comfortable. I should get popcorn. Tell me all about it.
Now I'm suddenly hungry for popcorn and ice cream because we were talking about that earlier. I did. I used to. I picked it up in college, and me and a friend of mine would go like to the laundromat. You know how college is, and you're like doing all your laundry at once, and we just go in there with our guitars and just sit there and play while the
machines were just spinning.
Yeah, and then played a bit at like women's retreats for our church. But RA and guitar playing don't do well together, as it turns out. So I don't do it so much anymore. But when she brought me that guitar quilt, like I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm all in. So I'm like, if you will send me a picture of his actual guitar, I will quilt it. So she did, and I did a custom quilt where it's got like all the knobs on the guitar and the strings and the like whole.
Oh my gosh.
The whole situation.
That's cool.
So that's been one of my favorites.
Okay.
And again, that was one where I really got to know her well, and we just had so much fun just like bouncing ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
And then I have another one that tells me that she just doesn't get a lot of surprises in her life.
Okay.
And so she has me surprise her with quilting. She's almost every quilt, I think everyone but one, she's just said, here's the top.
Have at it.
Let me know when you're done, basically.
Those are my favorite type of clients.
I get to pick the designs, the thread, everything. And the best part of that is her response to it. I did one about a couple of weeks ago, and she was so excited. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
So professionally, those are the first two that come to mind.
Okay.
Personally, I think the most, gosh, that's a hard question. I just finished The Mermaid, which is actually called Reaching.
Oh, yes. I know this one, yeah.
I just finished that top, and it's so beautiful. And that I'm already planning another one. But probably my favorite overall is The Wolf.
Okay.
That's on my living room wall. And the reason for that is wolf is the Latin word for lupus because it eats at you. Which
I didn't know that.
Is my experience with lupus, is it eats at you. And the colors for lupus are purple, or the color is purple.
Right.
And so I have a purple wolf that I did. And if you look really close at it, there are two details. Is this too much? There are two details in it. One of them is when I was really sick and they were knocking out my immune system. I was unrecognizable. I didn't recognize myself at all. And, sometimes that really got to me. And I'd be like, I can't even look in a mirror. I don't see me at all. And Chris would always say, I see you in your eyes. And so when I did the wolf, I changed the coloring for it to have blue eyes like I do. And that's the reason. And if you look really closely at the quilting, there's a lightning bolt in its eye.
I need to re-examine this quilt.
For the storm that happened. So that's probably my most meaningful quilt.
I love that. We're crying again, Brooke.
I know.
We can't do this.
It's in your eyes. I see you in your eyes. It just to have someone that knows you like that.
Yeah.
And he literally saved my life.
Oh, go Chris.
Go Chris.
I love Chris.
Yes, he's gonna love this podcast.
This is the best. I'm sending it to him.
Are you?
Oh yes, I will.
Well, you can't do it immediately because first off, I have to tell him, I was talking about you today, and we just got to let it lie.
Just leave it at that.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah, Corey and I were talking about you. He's gonna be like, oh, great.
I look forward to all the interwebs knowing whatever you just said.
Oh, Chris. So in your quilts, you do always put a little signature or always a little something different in them to keep people looking and guessing. Can you talk about kind of why you do that?
So it started off with my very first quilt that I quilted professionally, just because of the name Starr Lane. I've got all these hashtags with stars and constellations and all that. And I decided to sign all my quilts with a very simple star. Not like this. This is a lot of stars.
This is a lot of stars.
This is a lot of stars.
But we do love the stars.
But I will hide just a small star somewhere. Now, I don't do it without client's permission because it's not my quilt.
Fair.
But I've not had one person not want it. And what I do with my social media is I will post a picture of that star.
Mm-hmm.
When it's my client's quilts, I don't want it to appear like they're mine.
Right.
And so that's my way of indicating I did the quilting on this for somebody else. I put that little star in there. And even on quilts like this, if it's got a whole lot of stars, there's still an extra one in there.
Of course there is.
It's probably a star in a star. Oh,
it's right here.
It is.
I didn't do that on purpose.
I didn't either. It's after you do it, though, it's hard to remember where they're at.
You have one in this Halloween one, too?
Yes, right here.
Oh, right there.
Now, this one's not as hidden,
right?
But it's probably my favorite one. I always try to work it into something that's going on the quilt already.
Yeah.
Like I've done several T-shirt quilts, and we're in Texas.
Yeah.
So there's Lone Star this, and
everywhere.
Rangers, and Cowboys, and whatever. And so I'll get one of those shirts and put the star on that, so you don't even think
This looks
about
like it was naturally supposed to be there.
So at the beginning, I would send that picture to my clients. Here's the star. It's done, ready for you to pick up.
Yeah.
But I've quit sending them that picture because another friend of mine, she's got 3 boys, and they wanted to search like a Where's Waldo situation.
Like
yes.
Yeah.
And so she was like, don't tell me
where it is.
They're where it is. For it. And so I don't post quilt pictures until they've gone to the recipient anyway. But ever since then, now I don't show people. And I'm like, oh, it's in there.
As long as you approved it, it's in there.
As long as you've approved it, it's in there.
I love that. So a couple of weeks ago, I can't remember exactly which time I had this guest, but I had Tracy Mooney on, and I talked with her about the evolution of the quilting industry. So I like to talk with all of my guests as well. Have you noticed any changes in the quilting industry since you started, and how has it maybe affected your business, or how do you have to adapt to those changes to keep innovating?
Since I've started, I'm not using newspaper print anymore.
Well,
so I don't have
that's
black
a good start.
ink all over
that's a good start.
my hands. I mean, technology has played a big part.
Yeah.
I've got a computerized long arm, and so we're kind of watching that grow.
Yeah.
But business-wise, I've only been doing it for 3.5 years, so I don't know that a lot of changes happened while I've been in business. I think the big change happened right before and was the reason I got into it, which was the pandemic.
Right.
And I think that changed everything.
It changed everything.
And for small businesses, it was a hit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had to pivot.
Mm-hmm. I know. Yeah, I know all about it.
We watched you doing all that and how well you've done with it. But a lot of that, as far as the industry, I think that's when the most recent big change was. For me, the biggest change was just doing it as a business.
Yeah.
Because I've been quilting,
for some time.
I did, the ones with my grandmother. Mm-hmm. And then I popped in when I was going out to Lubbock. Mm-hmm. I did a king-size pixelated double T quilt.
Ooh.
That my grandmother's friend hand quilted for like $20.
What?
I mean, this...
Well, different time.
Let's not talk about how long that's been. I don't like doing that kind of math. It leads to no good. But
a different time. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. But definitely evolution.
And then when I started again 20 years ago, I haven't been able to put it down. And just watching, the different types of designers that come out and seeing not just like quilt patterns, but now I'm really seeing like the designs that we use to quilt with.
Right.
Threads have gotten better. Batting's gotten better. No one likes a wide backing more than a long arm quilter.
Period.
Yeah. Write that down. Anytime any of my people ask, like, what should I do for the backing? What, should I do all of this? And I'm like, please go to Corey. just go to Corey and you'll get everything that you need. And they literally come with the bag still tied up from y'all, like, Corey cut this for you. And I'm like, well, you took that literally.
Yeah. People do that.
There's the selection of fabrics. I mean, everything's changed in 20 years, really. It's just a whole new world for quilting.
And it's amazing. And I think it's only going to get better.
It's so much fun to be a part of.
I love that. So one last thing I want to talk to you about is your the role of social media for your business and for what you do. You post a lot and that's not a bad thing. The way I said a lot, that was very like going
all right,
after
I'll
you.
stop.
No. I love all your content, so please keep going.
Okay.
But I need you to drop your handle so people know how to follow you, and then two, I want to talk about the role in social media. Like, do you have a favorite platform that you like to use? What's the best times to post? What's the best things to post about? What do you do? How do you keep Romo from barking when you're filming? I just want to talk about all of that.
100% don't. I have 3 labs, and they're all named after cowboy players. And Tony Romo has a lot to say all the time. She'll be asleep, and then I'll start a video, or someone will call, and she needs to tell people things, and she does it in a very loud way. So I can't. The way I keep from Romo from barking is I don't. I just put it in a blooper reel and
go from there.
Social media is a lot of fun, I think, and you can connect with people in your circle, your clients, and your favorite shops and your favorite designers. But you can like really reach out and get people from all over.
Yeah.
And when that happens with quilters and you start getting tips, and social media is a lot of fun.
It really is.
Instagram is my favorite.
Okay.
I would say it's the easiest for me.
Okay.
I'm trying to get in the TikTok.
Oh, the TikToks.
I'm working on the TikToks. When you get a new phone, you lose all of your drafts. It's very important for people to know that so that you can save them. Not that this has ever happened to me on Tuesday, but
I feel like you've been personally victimized by this.
I have, because I had one that was so close, and now I had like a 10-minute thing edited down to 30, just a 30-second blooper reel, and I've got to.
I know exactly how that works, Brooke. Yeah, I've had many times of learning that.
But TikTok is good because you can put in videos and you can like splice them together, and you can add music over it or do voiceovers, or you have a lot of flexibility with that. And then once you do that, then you can just share it on your other ones. So I'm working on that.
Okay.
But Instagram seems to be the easiest. I just started doing videos this year. I refuse to do New Year's resolutions.
Okay.
It's like a setup for failure.
I mean, you're not wrong sometimes.
You have good intentions, but so instead I just set goals for myself.
Okay.
And this year, one of the goals was to start trying to do videos a bit to reach my world out.
Okay.
Because of all the stuff that's been going on, I'm in the house a lot. Again, I'm not able to get out in big crowds and all that kind of stuff. And so this just stretches the walls of my house. And now I get to do stuff like this with you, and it's just been...
We've got so many other things planned, too.
I know we have so many things.
I don't think the people are ready for what they're going to see next year.
They're not ready. We're going to have a really good time.
We are. Brooke and I are going to retreat together in January, and it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be epic.
Yeah.
We've got big plans.
A lot of content, and there's a lot of big plans
Yes,
coming.
he keeps telling me that I'm not ready for the filming.
No, the phone will be running 24/7.
Heard.
Yeah.
So there's no telling what will come out of my mouth.
We'll have to edit it, but it's okay.
Probably so.
It's okay. One last thing I want to talk to you or ask you before I let you go is if you could give one piece of advice to someone looking to start out quilting or even sewing, what would it be?
I can't keep to one.
Okay, give however many you want.
Technically speaking, when new quilters come to me and ask that, you get a pattern you love.
Okay.
You get fabric you love, and then you just do it. Just Nike it. Just do it.
Check.
Once you get started, I mean, you're going to learn as you go along. I think the hard part is just going. And if you have materials that you really love to look at and to work at, it's going to go really smooth.
Yeah.
Personally speaking,
okay,
I would say the quilting community is an amazing thing to be part of. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong.
I have thought this for a very long time. But in the past 5 years, I've become a very firm believer that quilters are just built different.
Facts.
They just are.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn how to quilt, go to a retreat. You'll have 20 people there armed and ready to help you out. Take a class, watch videos online.
Yeah.
But if you're thinking about doing it, this is your sign. Do it.
Period.
period.
Say less.
The
Just do
people
it.
that you end up getting surrounded with are just
Lifelong friends.
lifelong
It's an
friends, and I
incredible
can
community.
speak from experience. These are the people that are going to help you find your craft.
Yeah.
But they're also the people that will help you when life knocks you down. They're the people that will support you. No one will be more excited than a group of quilters when you're able to get back up and get into a studio. It's just an exciting community to be a part of.
Thank
just
you
do
so
it.
much. I appreciate you for sharing that. And then you didn't tell us your social media handle. How do we follow you online?
Starr Lane Quilting.
With 2 R's.
With 2 R's. Got to do the 2 R's for the family name.
Well, Brooke, thank you so much for spending some time with me today here
Well,
on the
thank you.
podcast.
I always enjoy working with you.
This has been a lot of fun. I've learned more about you, which is always good. We've learned a lot about Chris. People are going to love Chris.
People are going to love Chris.
Yes, that's amazing. But again, thank you so much for being here with me. You're welcome back anytime.
Oh,
you would
I'm
like to
coming
come
back.
Oh, okay.
Coming back.
Production's back there going, yes,
Yes.
bring her
Aw.
back. Yes. Alrighty, and thank you all so much for watching and listening wherever you are. Please make sure you give us a follow and a subscribe so you can stay up to date with everything going on here at Linda's, and make sure to follow Brooke on all of her social medias at Starr Lane Quilting, Starr with 2 R's. It'll also be linked below. I'll see you next time. Bye.